Good evening, everyone. We're almost about to start. We'll start. I think now it's 7:30 on the dot, isn't it? So let's get cracking. All of these webinars get recorded, so I'll start the recording and we'll start the webinar properly. Just make sure everything's working, and off we go. Hello and welcome to the webinar. If you're watching the recorded version of this, it was held live on Tuesday, March the 6th at 7:30 in the evening. So this is a webinar that we typically hold every couple of weeks. And we do a webinar on a Wednesday lunchtime, weekly webinar at 12:30, where we look at what's going on in the markets, sort of for self-directed trading, where the opportunities may be, where the big levels might be, all that sort of stuff. Tonight's webinar is a bit different. It's all about social trading, because you can, with Ayondo, you can do social trading where you copy other traders and have their trades mimicked on your account. So that's what we're going to do this evening. So I think maybe one way of comparing this, if you're trading for yourself, if you've ever traded for yourself, spread betting or CFDs, you're trying to be like the star striker in the football team, you know, picking where to get in, where your stop goes, where your target is, all that sort of thing. But when you're doing copy trading, it's almost as if you're trying to be the football manager. You're trying to pick a good team, and hopefully they get out there and perform, and your account just follows what all those people are doing. But tonight we'll go through it right from the basics. I'm using a live account, so it's been done with real money. We won't spend forever on PowerPoint. This is just to give the evening some structure, but most of the work tonight will be done actually on the trading platform and following people who are actually trading. So let's get started. So some of the basic principles. What we're going to look to do first of all in the next 5 minutes, identify profitable traders. Then we'll build a portfolio of traders we want to follow. We'll look at managing risk. Clearly that's pretty critical for any form of trading. And then how we monitor positions via WeTrade and TradeHub. Now, the way it works is on Ayondo's platform, some traders, and you can do this yourself if you wanted to, make their track record public. Of course, it all goes through Ayondo's trading platform, so it's all real trades that they've done, and you can see how they've done in terms of percentage returns, how they made money, what have they traded, all this sort of stuff. And these people make their trades available to follow. So if you follow a trader and in the next 2 minutes they buy the Dow Jones, they put a stop loss 150 points away, then that same trade will be done on your account automatically in a size that is of course appropriate for your account. So let's get started. So how are we going to start off tonight? We're going to log into WeTrade. So WeTrade is Ayondo's copy trade platform. We'll look at the ranking list. So the ranking list is in effect like a league table of traders. We can look at the different ways of sorting that. Profit or loss is the obvious way of doing it, and then it's more. There's more to it than just P&L. You know, it's how the money has been made, what's the volatility like, all that sort of stuff. So let's get started. So we'll start off, if I can find it. Just hold on a second. I just need to flip my screen over. Okay, I've managed to. There we go, completely lose it. Okay, so what you see now, this is what happens. This is what you see when you go to Ayondo's platform. So we have a couple of options. We'll look at TradeHub a bit later on this evening. We should be done probably within 25 minutes. The webinar shouldn't last for too much longer than half an hour. But to start off, let's log into WeTrade. Here we go. So I've logged in under my login. So this is a real account with real money. This is what we've got. There are various things we can look at. I can look at my account. So my account at the moment has £1,083 in. I don't have any executed portfolios. More of this as we go on. So I've got no P&L at the moment. But let's start off. What we want to look at is the top-down list of traders available to follow. So what I'm going to do, let's say over the last year, and we'll sort by P&L. So these are traders who make their trades available to be followed. So over the last year, I've sorted this by the best performer, and the best performer is S. Bauer Track Record, who's made 121% over the last 12 months. Giuseppe is number 2. 121% as well. The venture, 115%, and so it goes on. But there's an important distinction here straight away, because on Aondo's platform, if you want to, you can make your track record available while you're trading on a demo account. So you can be trading with dummy money and have other people follow your trades with their own real money. And that's fine. But for me, from my point of view, if I'm going to follow people with my actual real money, I want them to be trading with real money. So I have no interest in seeing the track records of people who are trading on a demo account. So what I can do straight away is filter those out, okay? And the way, just so you can see the change, Giuseppe number 2 has R next to his name. That means Giuseppe is trading with real money. The venture number 3 has an R as well. So the venture is a real money trader. But number 1, and all of these down here, they don't have the R. So they are not trading with real money. They're trading on demo. I have no interest in what they're doing. So I'm going to filter out the demo traders by clicking on RMT. So RMT now, I am only looking at traders who are trading with real money. So for me, this is where I want to start from. I don't want to follow people who are just doing it with play money. So straight away, Giuseppe jumps to the top. He's made 121%. The venture, just under 115%. And there's a big fall, but still a great return. Positive has made a 48.5% return. Corbachus has made 47%. And so it goes on. So I have 179 traders to choose from. Okay, so I've got some numbers there to look at. So what do we want to look at next? I think what we want to do, I've chosen P&L as sort criteria. Let's just walk through some of the data that we're seeing here. So clearly we have a picture of them if they choose to put a picture up. Career, Aondo has various career levels they can progress through. And it's all in terms of how often they trade, their drawdown, all that sort of stuff. So this one, Giuseppe, I think has been knocked back in his career. Risk score, how are they seen from a risk point of view? Pretty middling risk. Down here you can see real money trader Almogavers have a risk score of 10, so much higher risk. P&L is the one we sorted it by, 121% return. But it's not just all about P&L, because drawdown, this is a really important consideration, I think. Let's say you made trading for yourself 100% profit in a year. So at first glance, that looks good. But let's say, so your account went from, let's say, £5,000 to £10,000 over a year. So you think, well, that's a cracking year. But if along the way, your account dropped in value to £1,000, so you went £5,000, you had 10 losing months, then you just went crazy in the last 2 months and went from £1,000 up to £10,000. It's probably a level of risk and volatility that we don't want. So this drawdown figure is really important. So what this means is, along the way, how much of their profit did they give up? So Giuseppe made 121%. So clearly was taking on significant levels of risk, and along the way experienced a drawdown of just over a third. So saw a third of his running profit given up before bouncing back. The venture, much lower drawdown, made 115% and only gave back about a fifth of profit along the way. Positive, lower drawdown again, 48% return, and gave back 13%. So I think it's not just about looking at the raw P&L data. We have to consider how that money was made, how volatile was the move along the way. Last time they traded, okay, that's in there. Trades per month, so how active are they? So Giuseppe's doing about 20 trades a month. Turtle Trader 1964 is doing 35. I think that's Giuseppe again, actually, because they can run multiple accounts on here. And then someone like Real Money Trader is only doing 4 trades a month. So again, you get to see an idea of just how frequent and maybe how short-term a trader they are. Then moving along, number of followers, how popular are they? Positive seems to be the most popular one here, 267 followers. He's got a little star next to his or her name, showing that they're a popular one. And then the other important one for me, my background is technical analysis and charting. So what I want to see, ideally, is a nice, smooth-ish P&L chart. I don't really like this chart here, for example, Almogavas. So made 34% return. That's a good return. But look at how it was made. It was flat for ages, and then just seemed to have a bit of maybe a bump a month that's made all the money. So me, what I want to see ideally is maybe a chart like this one here, Turtle Trader 1964, where we have something resembling an uptrend. Okay, so we can see a lot more detail. But let's take a look. Let's just drill down now. We found a few traders who might look interesting. Let's take a look at Giuseppe. Let's click on Giuseppe. So now we get to see a whole load more information. Okay, so what we've got is here's Giuseppe's chart. There's the total data we have for Giuseppe. So the orange line is the P&L, so how well or how badly. So Giuseppe, the track record goes back to June 2016, but it's only really just over a year ago that it started moving positive. So maybe Giuseppe changed his particular approach to markets. Then we have down here the dashed line, the purpley dashed line. That's the DAX, the German stock market index, to give us some sort of benchmark. But overall, we can see that that P&L has been in a definite trend, a definite uptrend since the end of December 2016. Okay, so it's not all been made in 1 month. We've seen overall a positive trend for the P&L over the last 13 months or so. So let's take a look at the data. Volatility, 13% volatility. Number of trades, 463. Winning trades, 47%. Now, I quite like that number because you will quite often see a winning trade rate of 90% plus, and that's always maybe a bit of a warning flag to me. If someone is winning 9 out of 10 of their trades, it's unsustainable, and it maybe does suggest somebody who has a problem in taking losses. So they hang on when the market has moved against them in the hope that the trade will come back. So I'm quite comfortable with somebody who's winning trades around half. Winning months, 60%. Last activity, 6th of March. So that's today. Maximum drawdown, 34%. So we have a good picture here of what's been going on. This bit is important. Real money traders since. So even though old Giuseppe's track record goes back to June 2016, Giuseppe's only been a real money trader since June 2017. Okay, so clearly spent a year on a demo account. And so then started trading for real here. The P&L has carried on, but again, it's just something to bear in mind. If you see somebody with a 3-year track record, make sure you check this. Real money trader since when? Okay, so when did they start trading with real money? So we've got an actual year's worth of real money trading for Giuseppe. Let's scroll down a bit further, because again, I think there's a bit more information we can glean here. So the next most important thing for me, because it's not just about annual performance, because again, the risk here is the traders had 10 losing months and then basically bet the house in month 11 and it's got lucky and the market's moved in their favor. That's not really I would suggest a sensible trading strategy. So we can see the monthly performance. So we can see 2016 for old Giuseppe was a tough one, well, a bad one, down 22%. 2017 was much better, up 145%, 3 losing months in there. 2018, so the years to date, has made 31% so far this year. These figures are being massively flattered by what happened in Jan. So made 34%, 35% in Jan. So again, I'm always a little bit wary of that. If there's one standout month that makes all the money, it tends to be maybe a little bit cautious. Let's see how March and April turn out. But we can see much more detail about the breakdown of how the money's been made. Okay, so there we go. That's our monthly performance. Then we can see other stuff. We can see what they trade. And actually, lots of traders on here, because Aondo started off in Germany. They're a German company, but they are FCA regulated in the UK. Lots of traders will trade the DAX. So it's actually quite refreshing to see Giuseppe doesn't mind trading a bit of everything. So 14% of trades Euro, 10% of trades on oil, 7% Alibaba, 7% in pound against the dollar, Facebook, Amazon, blah, blah, blah. So it goes on. So Giuseppe trades, clearly he's got some sort of trend following approach and trades a mix of everything. Okay, so there's Giuseppe. We've got quite a good picture here. of how well this person's done, how they've done it, and hopefully the sustainability of this trend. We'd hope it's going to continue. You know, that it's just during last month this trader's P&L broke out to fresh all-time highs. So hopefully we'll see this continue. But for me, it's an interesting trader. Let's just jump back onto the PowerPoint for a sec. So we've done all of this. We've had a look at the top-down view, the rankings list. We've sorted them by P&L. We've drilled down into the data. So what we want to do next is start building a portfolio. So I'm already following on this account 3 traders. I can follow up to 5 traders, so we'll do that. So we're going to start following traders now, access the portfolio builder, set the risk levels, and then execute on a live account. So let's put Giuseppe into the mix. Let's click on follow. Okay, due to a negative performance, your selected trader was downgraded to street trader level. So this one's had a bad performance. So a maximum drawdown of 34%. So I think, okay, yes, you flagged up. He's had a big drawdown, but I'm still happy. So I'm going to take Giuseppe. Here we go. We'll come back to this screen in a minute, but this is my portfolio I'm starting to build up. So I've got 3 traders in there already, and I've just added Giuseppe. So I'm going to add another trader in here. Let's go back to the rankings list and see if we can find one more. Okay, so we're still looking at 1 year. We'll sort by P&L. There's Giuseppe in there, best performer of the last year. They're all real money traders. So let's find somebody else. So we go for somebody a bit left field. Who have we got? Actually, I think this is Giuseppe again, isn't it, down here? Let's have a look at this one. Turtle Trader 1964. Let's take a look. So it's the same picture. So maybe again a slightly different approach using this. Similar number of winning trades, 48% of trades have been winners. Real money trader since May 2017. So this has a slightly longer track record. Going back to whenever it was back here. Let's have a look at all of it. Yeah. So it started trading with real money right from the off. And over the last year, well, since May 2017, is up almost 25%. So again, the numbers, what do the numbers look like? It looks like a more conservative approach. So 3 losing months last year, still turned in a 13% return. 2 losing months, or we're losing March to date so far. So 2 out of 3 months so far have been losers, but still up 10% for the year. Let's take a look at the split. Okay, similar mix, maybe a few more shares in there. Any open positions that the trader's still running, any recently closed positions. So we can see a whole load of data. But let's put Turtle Trader 1964 into our mix as well. Click on follow, and there we go. Okay, it looks definitely, unless someone's cloned his identity, it is the same person, maybe running a slightly different strategy. Okay, so now we're ready to start moving ahead. But before we do that, a little bit of sort of detail in here. So what we have down here, the dashed blue line is if we had started following these traders a year ago, what does our P&L look like? So if you'd have followed them over the last year, our P&L is 334%. Well, wouldn't that be fantastic? Unfortunately, we can't go back to where we were a year ago and start following them. And it's the usual disclaimer, the past is no guarantees of the future. But that shows us how it would have worked. Now, before we click on the big green button down here and start actually following these trades, there's a couple of important steps to do, first of all, from a risk management point of view. So confirm trader's individual risk level. We'll do that now. Set loss protection and Ayondo negative balance protection. Let me talk about this first. If you've traded CFDs, spread betting, FX, any of that stuff, you will probably be familiar with the phrase, your losses can exceed your deposits. Because you're trading on margin, there's always the risk that you have a big move against you. Maybe you don't have a stop loss. Maybe it gaps through your stop loss, but you end up losing more money than is in your account. So you have to cough up more money. It's rare, but it can happen. But with Ayondo's negative balance protection, if you have £5,000 in your account, you can never lose more than £5,000. Okay, so your account won't go negative. So let's look at these 2 others first of all. No, next, sorry. Confirm trader's individual risk level, set loss protection. Let's go back on the platform. Okay, so you'll see there's this little settings button. above all the traders I've chosen. I click on settings. So what we can do, we are going to be automatically following these people. So if Giuseppe does a trade where Giuseppe buys the Dow at a level and puts a stop loss 100 points away, the trade will be done on my account, buying the Dow at that level, stop loss 100 points away. Of course, if Giuseppe is trading with a £100,000 account and I've got a £2,000 account, they won't be done at the same size that Giuseppe's doing, because clearly his account is much bigger than mine. But what it does, it works it out on a percentage risk basis. So if Giuseppe buying the Dow, say buys £10 a point with a stop loss 100 points away, so that's £1,000 risk for him on a 100 grand account, that's 1% risk. So the trade will be done on my account risking 1% of my account. So if my account is £2,000, it'd be done on my account risking 1% of £2,000, which is 20 quid. So the size is scaled down, okay? So you have the same percentage risk to your account as the person you're following, but clearly not the same financial risk because account balances are going to be different. And what this does, this lets us slide up or down the different levels of risk. So if I'm massively confident in Giuseppe, I can choose to have a maximum of 3 times the risk Giuseppe's taking. So if Giuseppe's doing a trade on a £100,000 account where the risk to his account is 1%, losing 1% if it goes wrong, I can have the trade done at 3 times that on my account, so risking losing 3% of my accounts if I'm really confident. Or if it's a new trade or I'm not sure, I can bump it right down the other way. So if Giuseppe does a trade, again, that risks losing 1% of his £100,000 account, then I can have the trade done on my account at a quarter of the risk. So where if it went wrong, I'd only risk losing a quarter of 1%. Okay, so you can dial this thing up to whatever you want it to be. Personally, I just leave it at 1, but it's up to you. You can set the levels of risk. Let me just check it for all of these people. Okay, that's 1. Smarty Trader is at 1. DAX Call 3 is at 1. And Elon Natal is at 1. Okay, so they're all, so I'm basically mimicking their percentage risk levels. So we're nearly ready to go. I've got my 5 traders in my pot, my portfolio. Click on execute on live account. We're going to have some warnings now. Click on execute there. Okay. So first of all, before anything happens, clearly as these people are trading actively, they've got trades that are open. That they'll already be running positions on their account. And this is the bit that basically says to me, do you want to follow their open trades? So if they got a trade on a Dow, the trade they have open will be copied to your account on a Dow. But of course, importantly, if they bought the Dow a week ago, for example, when it was 500 points lower than it is now, you're not getting in 500 points lower from a week ago. You're getting in wherever the Dow is trading now. So for me, I've got no interest in following their open trades. Or copying their open trades, I should say. What I want to do is copy any future trades. So I just leave all those unticked. Click on execute. And there's a bit of contract note expiry doodah, not too important, get rid of that. And that's it. Okay, we're now up and running. So my account is now up and running and following these people. Okay, so no one's done a trade yet, of course, because I've only just started following them. But if someone does a trade in the next 5 minutes or so, before the webinar ends, it'll be carried out on my account. Okay, we'll come back and see if anybody does do a trade. There are other levels of risk control, and I can't stress enough. I mean, hopefully everyone knows, when you're trading, the risk control is really important. But there's another level. What we can do is basically put a stop loss on our account. So my account's got £1,083 in there. I've got no P&L at the moment because no one I'm following has done a new trade. And I had this loss protection thing. Let's click on that. What this means is I can actually put a stop loss on my account. Okay, so if the market if the balance of my account falls to a certain level, this basically says, right, close all open positions and stop following any new trades. So if I make that £725, my balance at the moment is 1,083. I'm going to say the trigger equity level is 725. If the balance of my account, including any open P&L, drops to 725, close them, close all the trades, don't follow any new ones. Can we choose individual instruments, someone's asking, when we copy a trader, or does it have to be every instrument they trade in? You can choose it. Let me just jump onto the portfolio. So we've covered that, the balance, the loss protection. If you go to Portfolio Builder, if I want to, if I click on, let's click on one of these guys who's in my account, Turtle Trader. So set individual amounts on that risk control thing. I can say, right, if I think Turtle Trader is rubbish at trading Walt Disney, for example, which is something they've traded in the past, I can knock that down to 0. Yeah, so if I don't like their track record trading Walt Disney, I can knock it down to 0 if I want. Okay, so you can set it on an individual basis if you want to. Okay, so so now we're up and running. You know, this is we've set our loss protection level thing. We're following the 5 traders. I don't know if anyone's done a trade yet, but no, there's nothing happening yet. Maybe we'll get one in the next 10 minutes and it'll just go through automatically clearly on my account. Let's just jump back onto PowerPoint while waiting for that to happen. Now, of course, the thing is to monitor open positions. You know, if we've got trades running, we want to keep an eye on them. So the easiest way of doing it is the way we have been doing it, that way, looking through the browser. And of course, there's an app as well. So you can look at a high level view in an app, but there's also this thing called Trade Hub. So we're going to log into that for a more detailed view. So let me show you. Go to the drop down thingy up here by my profile, go to Trade Hub. Here we go. So Trade Hub, for those of you who have traded for yourself, is maybe a platform you're more familiar with. It's your more traditional trading platform thing. Okay, so we'll just wait for that to load up, and then we'll take a look at things in a bit more detail. So when you open an account with Aondo, you have effectively a couple of accounts. So you have an account which is logged into now. So this is my own, for example, my own spread betting account. So one where I can just trade myself in a normal way. And there's only 46 quid in this account because I don't use it for anything. But the drop down list here, if I go to spread betting social follower, hopefully you can see that. This is my follower account. This is the one I'm actually following these people on. So there's my cash balance up there, £1,083. No P&L yet, so no one's traded yet. But this lets me do all the usual things I could do in a normal trading account. So if you want to see a lot more detail, if we click on there, open positions, there's nothing open yet. If a trade goes through, it did happen last time. Hopefully we'll be lucky, if I can speak English tonight, we'll be lucky enough tonight to see a trade go through. But this lets me monitor the details of the trade. I can do the usual things like run reports. So let me go back to maybe a month ago, because I use this account for these webinars. I go back to a month ago, 1st of Feb. I can run, there we go, a transaction report on what was going on, trades I followed, where were they closed, all of that sort of stuff. Okay, transaction history, order history, I can do all of that in my account. And you can see, because I'm trading pretty small, I knock the risk right down. The trade sizes are tiny, so I tend to run this, then just close them all out randomly ahead of the next webinar. But you know, just a stake size, for example, here's a trade on the German 30, minus 0.3 pounds a point. So that was 3p a point trade effectively. So you can, when you first start, because I think this is a bit weird, I'd never done sort of copy / follow trading before. It can be a bit weird in the beginning to have trades going through on your account that are effectively nothing to do with you. So in the beginning, I just knocked the risk right down. But you can do, you know, all the usual stuff. Let me just flip back onto PowerPoint. You know, within Trade Hub, you can adjust positions. So if someone's put a trade on a Dow, they've bought at where is the Dow? I've got no idea. They've bought at 25,000 and they've put a stop at 24,900, but you think the stop should be at 24,850, you can go in and change it. Okay, but it's important to understand, if you change a trade that you're following, that's then your trade. It won't be closed out when they close it out, the people you're following, as would normally happen, it will be closed out when you decide to close it out or when the stop is hit. So personally, I don't recommend tinkering with other people's open positions. I want to let just follow the traders. You can do the usual stuff, view account history, including financing costs. Clearly, because we're trading CFDs, contracts for difference, or spread betting, there's a small financing cost. It tends to be small because of the size of trades you're doing. You can run account statements and you can add funds. Okay, so we logged in. You get the normal balances, the normal key figures that we've just seen. The cash balance, any P&L, assuming you've got trades running, what that means for your account value, all of that sort of stuff. You can change positions if you want to, but again, that disclaimer is important. Positions that have been changed or opened by the follower are not closed by the loss protection. You can see financing costs in there as well. You can run account statements in the usual way. So it really is like it's just a normal trading platform that you're probably used to if you've ever traded yourself. Personally, the webinar that we do on a Wednesday lunchtime at 12:30, where we look at what's going on in the markets, I use this, because it's got the normal functionality. So that's when I use TradeHub, when I'm looking at self-directed trades. If I want to have a look at a chart of, pound US dollar, I can flip around, add MACDs, add trend lines, all that sort of stuff. But for me, when I'm looking at sort of my follower account, what I look at is the WeTrade view. So for me, that is enough. If we just jump back on that, I don't think anybody has traded yet. So if we jump back on that view, the normal high level view of what's going on, just a simple browser based view tends to be easy enough for me. And it's really as straightforward as that. Clearly the hard bit is trying to find good, consistent traders, which is why I think it's important to drill down into those numbers, to see what their volatility looks like, see what their P&L looks like, and think, well, actually, is this a person that I want to follow? Because ideally what I'm looking for, what me personally I'm looking for, are traders who are profitable on a quarterly basis. If they're not profitable every month, well, that's okay. But as long as they're making money, hopefully every 3 months or so, they're not having massive drawdowns. I think it's a really interesting way of maybe gaining extra exposure to the market, smoothing out possibly, some of the bumps, some of the sort of week-to-week bumps and the volatility that we may see in our own trading account, and then just keeping an eye on it, logging in. I mean, I only have a look a couple of days a week, just a quick glance at this page, what's going on, has anything drastically changed? Then no, that's fine. And then maybe on a quarterly basis, just do a quick review of the people that we're following, because they do go off the boil. Let's take a look at DAX Call 3, for example. I was following this person already. Let's see what this person's numbers look like. Okay, well, no, actually, it's been a little bit flat since October, but overall, still appears to be making money. 66% performance since the start. This is always a worrying number. 99% of trades are winners. This does suggest somebody maybe, who's got a problem getting out of losing trades. But 2016 made 31%, 2017 made 23%, 23.7, perfectly acceptable figures. So far this year has made 2.4%. Okay, so we get to see that. So it looks like historically a solidly performing trader. So for me, I'll just every few months just sit down and have a quick click through the traders that I'm following, just to make sure that nobody has gone a little bit crazy and suddenly their P&L is flipping around all over the place. So here's so Smarty Trader again. This person has gone off the boil. We're sort of roughly now where we were a year ago. So again, to look at their P&L. I mean, last year still made 47%. The year before made 100%, but so far this year is down 3.7%. Okay, so it's a way of just taking a look at what's going on. And it's all easily done from what Ayondo call WeTrade, and it's just this this browser-based trading platform, effectively. And that's it. I think we'll start wrapping things up there. No one has done a trade this evening, unfortunately. So everyone's clearly had a bit of a knocked off early today, and they're not trading the US markets tonight. But again, if you change your mind, let's say I think, actually, I need to rethink my whole strategy when it comes to following people. And if you've got open positions running, if you click on stop execution now, I'll say yes, stop execution. So it stops following any new trades and it will close any existing open trades. Okay, so I've still got my portfolio of people I'm following. It's just not following them with money yet. And if I want to start it up again, I just click down there, execute on live account. So I'd say if it's sort of piqued your interest, try it and see. You can set up, you can do it with a demo, I think, for 3 weeks. So you can, if you register on the site, you can play around with the demo. But if you know, even if you do it with real money, which I do think the best way of learning is to actually risk real money, you can dial the risk down to a level that you're comfortable with. Okay, so you don't need to be taking stupid levels of risk to start following people. So we'll start wrapping things up there. If you have any questions, feel free afterwards. You think, I wish I'd asked that, drop me an email. My email address is david@tradeafter.com. It's the best email address for me. And I've blogged a bit about social trading about a year ago, using, again, a real account over a couple of months so people could see how it works step by step. So if you go to my website, jonesthemarkets.com, there's a bit more information on there. But for tonight, we'll start wrapping things up so I can let you all get back to your evenings. Thanks very much for coming along. We do this webinar every couple of weeks in the evening, and every Wednesday lunchtime at 12:30, we do a looking at the markets webinar. And again, if you can't make it at 12:30 on a Wednesday, there's always a recording available, and I put that out on Twitter and stuff. Okay, but we'll wrap things up there. Thanks for coming along, and have a good evening.